If I didn't care, would it be the same? Would my every prayer begin and end with just your name? And would I be sure that this is love beyond compare? Would all this be true if I didn't care for you?
I find Montreal one of the most fantastic cities I've ever been in my life. And what's fantastic about it is that I don't see nothing about Montreal that's any different than Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New York, Boston. And when people say what a fantastic city it is, it's because they never saw a city before, or they're too stupid to know what they're talking about. Because Montreal, if they didn't tell you it's Montreal, you would know you're not in Pittsburgh. As a matter of fact, you would think you're just in an old neighborhood in Pittsburgh. Or you would think you're in a much older neighborhood in Boston. So if you saw old neighborhoods, there's nothing to get excited about. If I didn't care, would I feel the same? With my every prayer. People think it's fascinating because it's old. Why is it with people just the opposite? When a person is old, people can't look at him. And the reason people can't stand this guy is because they say he's old. If nobody wants to talk to a woman, you know why? She's an old lady. As soon as you get old, nobody wants to know you. But when you see an old building, oh my God, look at this, what a building. Why? You ever see such an old building? An old building has got nothing different than a new building. What's the difference between an old building and a new building except that it's old? Nobody knows the difference. So what are you getting excited about? They say, yeah, but you see that type of architecture? One thing I found, when you see a new building and they all look the same, they say it's boring, they're not imaginative, they're stupid, they can't think of anything creative or different because they're stupid. That's why all the new buildings look alike. Now let me ask you a question. Don't all the old buildings look alike? You trying to tell me that one church looks so different than another? If they turn you around twice, would you know the difference? So why is it when old buildings all look alike, it's beautiful, and when a new building looks alike, it's disgusting? Why? Because people are stupid. I'm talking to you, whoever you are. That this is love beyond compare. All this be true if I didn't care for you. You're a moron if you're telling me because it's old, it's beautiful. Every church I see and every temple I see and every old building I see looks like every other old building. There's the same two big pieces of what do you call those turnaround things? Those tubes in the front of every church. Those two columns in the front, then sometimes there's 3 columns. The big difference is sometimes there's 4 columns. This one only had 5 columns. It's a mob of columns. If I didn't care, if I didn't care, more than words can say. The only difference between one building and another is the difference in the number of columns. If it only has 2 columns, they say, oh, it's a beautiful building. They see 3 columns, what a fantastic building. You see the architecture in that building, and you know what they're looking at? About 82 columns. But it's the way the columns are distributed. They're not just a straight row of columns. It's 2 from column A, 1 from column B, 1 from column C, 1 from column D. Sometimes it's 2 columns from this one, then 3 columns from that one. In other words, a Chinese restaurant and a building has got exactly the same expression, the same formula, and the same answer. Forget the colors from the building, open a Chinese restaurant, and you got the same conversation. It means nothing. Would all this be true if I didn't care for you? This you can't make up like this one, you know. We can't play this on television.
Can you play this on YouTube?
Nah, this would be boring. If you go into a butcher shop, go into any place where they sell columns, go into a hardware store where they sell columns, And if they sell a lot of columns, you got 52 buildings, because all you do is buying buildings made out of columns. That's all. You leave out the columns, they all look like a new building. The only thing they can think of is columns, and on top of the columns they all have the same formula. They have a thing that goes up here and then it goes down here with a few chachkas in between and a bunch of little statues on top of it. The same 12 statues are in 4 million buildings all over the world, and everybody says how brilliant. You take off that statue, put it on another building, would you know the difference? You wouldn't know the difference. You know why? It's a lot of crap. And you want to feel like an artist, a thinker, a philosopher, because if you think of old as beautiful, fantastic, historical, it makes you a historian. You're not a historian, you're a moron. Write that down, that I said so. And that's the last time I'm warning you.
And would I be sure that this is love beyond compare?
You know that? That's a good routine for my act, this whole routine.
Color, right?
This whole business about the old buildings. I never thought of it. It's very funny.